Hey everybody, how's everybody doing? Making a video here today, do-it-yourself video. I have a 2008 Dodge Caravan, and I do my own brakes. I was doing my brakes last weekend, and when I pulled it out, 3 of the 4 brakes were still good, and it was grinding really bad. We'll come to find out, one of the calipers was bad. So I decided, I might as well make a video of doing all the brakes and replacing the caliper. Probably all one video. I'll do the caliper first, and then just do a quick how to do the brakes as a second one. I don't know, watching this video, hopefully it helps people out with the price of mechanics today. Not trying to take nothing away from their craft, but at $100 an hour for a 2008 van, you know, spending $500-600 to have your brakes put on, or whatever it costs, and to replace a caliper and everything else, I'm sure it's a few $100 job. And to me, I'm just going to do it myself. It's a 08. I got an extra car. I don't need it. I'm not in a hurry for it. I can take my time doing it, and maybe help a couple of you out on the way. So here's I already put the disc on because I started this job last weekend before I found out I had a bad rotor, or a bad caliper. But so this is the caliper, and in here this caliper's hanging up. I already got my new pads in, my new rotor on, and I found out the caliper was hanging up. That's why it was going through brakes. So this is all part of the emergency brake. It's the brake cable coming in. Here's the banjo bolt that I'll have to remove. That's where the brake fluid comes into the caliper. So my plan is I'm going to take the whole thing off. And I figured it was just the caliper that you ordered. I ordered the parts off Amazon, and $60. So I figured it was just the caliper, and then I got it, and it's actually not. It's the caliper and the bracket. So it really makes it a lot easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the emergency brake stuff off and get it out of the way. Take the whole caliper and bracket off, and then bolt the new one on. So all I got to do is pull this bolt out, hopefully not lose too much fluid, not get too much air in the lines. It comes with new crush. These copper washers are crush washers. You put one on each side of the banjo fitting. It comes with a new banjo bolt that has the hole through it for the brake fluid to flow through the bolt. So all I'll do is pull that off real quick, throw a washer, throw the bolt, throw a washer, throw the washer, throw the bolt through, bolt it back up, hopefully not get too much air in the lines. You still have to bleed them whenever you open your brake lines up. You have to bleed them out. Here's the bleed. I hope you can see that. That's the bleed. This is the old one, obviously, so that doesn't matter. This is just, I'm going to show you. You put your wrench on there, pump the brakes, hold them, crack it, fluid and air will come out, tighten it back up before you let off the brakes. It's a 2-person job. They also have power bleeders. I don't have one. I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way with my son pumping the brakes and me cracking that bolt to let the air escape. So this is the old one. Here's the brand new one, $60 on Amazon, delivered, ready to go. One thing I found out with these Dodges is that this requires a special tool. You know, Chevys and everything else, you put a C-clamp on there and close them, and they close right in. This has to twist as it goes in, and when I do the other brakes on the front, I'll show you the tool. It's $20 on Amazon, but it's the one everybody uses. So yeah, I'm going to get into it. Here's the tool that you need for doing Dodge brakes. Unboxing video, because this is all brand new. Obviously this stuff is supposed to slide over and lock in, I guess, and none of it was. But easy enough fix. So this is the Dodge Caravan tool for doing the brakes. Oh look, it even comes with a size 10-inch glove. It comes with this washer, and so let me show you real quick, because I've never done brakes on a Dodge. I've always done like Chevy and Ford, and you can do them with a C-clamp. You can just close the calipers with a C-clamp. But apparently Dodge is a little different. So you got right hand and you got left hand. I'm assuming, looking at the car, the driver's side is the right hand side. So you grab the one that has RH on it, the other one has LH. One is for left hand, one is for right hand. So we're going to grab the right hander because it spins in that way. And it has these little knobs on it. And what you do is you take this plate washer and you put it over the handle like this. And what this does is it comes up on the back of the caliper. And I'm actually going to do one to show you real quick how this tool works. So here's your caliper. We already got it off. It's going to make a mess because it's going to leak out. Let's put this under it. So what you do is you find the piece that fits in there. And I'm going to say it's going to have 2 on it. And it's kind of small. So it's probably like this K2. And you take this K2 and you put it in here, and those little, there goes all the brake fluid all over my hand. That's cool. So you take this and those little teeth will fit in this, like so. And this will be on the car when you do this. And then those little teeth fit inside those teeth. And you put this in there like so. And you line that up and get that all lined up, and then you start cranking this in. Obviously I need a wrench to put on here, but I'm just trying to do it in my hand so I can show you how this thing works. I never had a Dodge. And you run this out, I guess you need a wrench to put on here maybe. And then what you do is you start cranking down on this, and as it cranks down, it spins that caliper piston in. It has to be compressed and spun to go in. And see, if you can see that, it's turning. And what it'll do is it'll turn it in. This one's already all the way compressed because we compressed it with a pair of channel locks and a C-clamp. I don't recommend that because it will mess up the caliper, the piston in there. Not that it matters, because the piston only rides on the back of the brake pad. It's abrasive, won't hurt anything. But if it's too abrasive and it pulls back into this rubber boot, it is going to tear the boot. So I'd recommend you spend the 20 bucks to buy the tool. But if you do got a pair of channel locks and a C-clamp, you can do it like that if you're trying to save a couple bucks. I get it. I mean, that's why we work on our own cars, so we can save money. But if you got Dodge, it might be worth the investment to get this $20 pack of tools. And then, you know, maybe on the side you might be able to do your buddy's brakes for 50 bucks, and you paid for the tool after you do your first brake job. But yeah, so that's the tool. Pretty cool. Easy to use. It'd be a lot easier if this was on the vehicle, but I already got it off, so it is. It's kind of difficult making it hard on me because now it's coming out. So you need a wrench to. Probably the wrench makes it a lot easier. But there you go, that's the tool. Relatively cheap, 20 bucks. I think it was 23 exactly on Amazon. Alright, so these guys here are 13 millimeter. I'm going to take them off with the ratchet, and just so I can get the brake pads out. It's really irrelevant at this point, being as there's a new caliper. I'm going to pull them out. That one comes out. There's another one down the bottom. There's only 4 bolts hold the brakes on all together. So pull the second one out and go from there. That way I can show you the caliper coming off. Here's the second bolt down here. You'll see when this whole assembly comes off what it looks like. And the new one's got all new bolts. So this thing will pull out now like this. It's a little bit tight because of the cables. Put this here so it don't fall. It's going to fall anyway. Sorry for the camera wiggling. This is alright, so that's your caliper. These are my new brake pads. I'm going to hold these, get these out of the way, because they're brand new. I put them on last weekend before I found out I had a bad caliper. And so you got to take this bracket off when you put new brake discs on anyway. And the cool thing about the Dodge is you don't have to, some of these are bolted on some cars. Some of your rotors are bolted on. On the Dodge, it just slides on after you take the caliper and the bracket off. So there's that out of the way. These are 18 millimeter. I don't have an 18 millimeter socket in my set, so I'm gonna get these with a wrench. There's two of them, one at the top, one at the bottom. And all this stuff's pretty loose because I did it last weekend. These you got to reuse. The other ones, the caliper and the bracket comes with new ones, but these ones have to be reused. You can push this out of the way. The brake lines are pretty durable. You don't have to be extremely gentle with them, but you be a little cautious not to ruin them. And I'll have this bracket off in 1 second. It's really easy. Really easy compared to what you pay at a mechanic to have this done. It's really amazing. So, there's the other bolt. So them two are out. Now the bracket's off. That's done. With this new one, that's all trash. Because the new one just bolts right on in there. And I'm going to take all these cables off before I go any further. I have to put a zip tie on it to try to crush those little metal tabs that hold it in, like little finger tabs. And it still don't want to come out. It's kind of a pain in the butt. If I get it rocked that way and then push in on this one, I should be able to get it. There it is. Alright, now the zip tie hopefully will slide off with it as it comes off. If it ain't too tight, I think it's too tight. I got my zip tie on there too tight. Try to break it off now. I need a pair of snips. Alright, bring none. Alright, there's the zip tie out of the way. And now you can, hopefully you can see that slid over. And pull the cable slack and it comes out the side opening. There's an opening right there. The cable has to come through that. I pulled this out of this little socket. I don't know if you can see that. This little piece, I think it's the ABS sensor. I pulled that out of that little grommet just so I didn't rip that hose. I don't know what's in there, but I didn't want to destroy it. So, this is that done. I'm going to hang this out of the way for now. Just put it back here. Probably can, almost can get that hooked to, yep, hooked to the spring. So you got to take the caliper off the bracket to put it in, because the bracket has to be put on to hold the rotor on, and that has to be done before you put the actual caliper on. So I'm going to take this apart and put it together. I'll get the rotor back on, I'll get the bracket on, and then this shouldn't be that hard. Maybe I'll do this first, tie this in, that way the bracket's not in my way. But going back in, this should be fairly easy. Like I said, this little hole, the cable has to slide through that, and then so you might want to hook it and try to pull it. You pull it until you get the cable, and then it slides through, and then that just goes in. That's done. That's locked in right there. Yeah, wow, that was easy, super easy. Hang that out of your way. That's done. Get your rotor. Put your new rotor on. That's done. Take your new caliper. It bolts in behind the rotor. It goes behind it like that. And those 18 millimeters come in from back here and hold that one. Those are the ones I had to use the wrench for. One on the top, one on the bottom. And that locks your bracket in. And let's see. You can run them pretty much all the way in by hand until you get to where they have to be tightened. Grab my wrench, snug them up. Just quicker with the wrench. This again is an 18 millimeter wrench. And I'll snug that one until I get this one snugged up, and then tighten them both up at the same time. Not the same exact time, but you know, fairly evenly. You pretty much go as tight as you can. I highly doubt you're going to break them or snap them or strip them. That goes like that. And then you got, so from there, from that point, what we're going to do is install our pads. You have these small inserts that go in here. Let's show them to you real quick. They're all four the same. None of them are. They're not different. They don't vary. And they're these guys here, and they're designed to like push in like this and pop over, and they go in here where the brake pad goes. These are where the brake pad rides. Sorry to move the camera around all crazy. You see this little groove, and this will push back. It doesn't look like that when it's done, but these have a little spring side to them, and all I do is take them and push them in until they pop over. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but whatever, you know. You can. The spring side, I would guess, is supposed to go in easier. You push it, and sooner or later it'll pop in there. Probably should have put them on before I could have put them on before I put that on. Let me use this pair of pliers, it'd be easier. Alright, and you see that's popped in. And that's what the brake pad itself rides on. Yeah, so they give you this grease, and there's a little diagram out in the highway, you can see that. It shows you, you put grease here, these are called the sliders. You put a little dab in them, and you also put a little dab on the back of the plate. I believe only the one that goes on the caliper side, because as the caliper pushes out and the brake pad gets smaller, the caliper twists itself. So I think you only have to put it on that side. On this Dodge, I believe that the squealer, I had this already on once, and I believe it's the squealer goes on the back, the thing that lets you know that your brakes are going bad, because it won't even work on the front. You can't get it in the front side. If you see that, that's the squealer. It's only on one pad, and that pad goes on the caliper side, the inside of the vehicle, the side closest to the vehicle. And so this is usually like a little black grease. I'm not sure. Yeah. Oh, there's this copper. So, and you don't need a whole lot of this. Just a little dab on the. You could put it on the ends of the. You could even put it right on the ends of the pad. The brake shoe. They only give you enough to do. If you bought back brakes, they give you enough to do the back brakes. If you bought front brakes, they give you enough to do the front. This car actually has four-wheel discs. I'm pretty surprised, but yeah, a lot of cars nowadays disc front and drum back. So yeah, here we got the one with the squealer. We're going to put that in, and I'll show you on the front how it goes. I'm going to put this one in without showing you. Just because I can't get a really good camera angle on it. But it'll line up good, and it'll slide right in there. And then I say that, and that's the kiss of death. But yeah, so those little sliders that I put in, these ears fit in those sliders. And if you get them lined up just right, this thing will slide right in. If you don't have that pulled off, because I had to pull them off earlier, I probably shouldn't have. And I don't need to put them on there. I think they're like vibration, reducing noise, reducing plates. But it'll stick back on. Once the caliper tightens up on it, it'll be fine. So that's that. And now, I mean, this is like 90% done. We just have to put that like that. We bring the caliper over, and the caliper itself will swallow the brake shoes and line up on those. Look, they look like bolts, but they're not bolts. Those are actually let's see what's going on here. This may need some adjusting. Well, no, it should push in. So let me get one bolt in it, and that's these bolts here. They give me new ones with the caliper, and those are the ones I took out originally, the 13 millimeters. Let me get one in, and usually you can do brakes by pivoting the caliper. So there's the second one pushed in, and then this bolt goes here. It's kind of wanting to fight me a little bit. There we go. I don't know why the cable. I might have to adjust my emergency brake. But let's get this guy started. There we go. Not yet. Push that in. There we go. There it is. Just because it's all new. Alright, so I moved the camera just for tightening up purposes. So these are the bolts I just put in, the 13 millimeters. And you can just run them in as tight as you can get them. It ain't going to hurt nothing. Do them even. You know, get one tight and then get the other one tight. If this part on the back spins, it's supposed to. You just need to get a wrench and put in there behind it. The gear wrenches that I'm using, the gear wrenches don't fit in there. And I actually haven't tried a regular wrench either. But they're almost on the side of being a little too thin for an actual wrench to fit in there. But this 15 millimeter fits in. So just throw that on there. Take up and tighten your 13 millimeter as tight as you can get it. And get that in there. And that's it. I mean, it's a floating system because it has to float for the brakes to work. Just because they're self-tightening, and as the pads get smaller, the caliper takes that into account and closes itself up. So you get as much out of both sides of the brake pads as possible. The caliper floats a little bit. I think older cars, they never floated, and I think maybe like you would run down one side of your pad quicker than the other. If you kind of jerk your ratchet, you can, sometimes that'll work. The second one's a little difficult. This wrench just barely fits in there. Like, by barely, I mean not really at all. It's definitely not like a... This isn't a hard job. It's a little tedious, a little time consuming. It might be overwhelming if you've never done brakes or if you haven't worked on cars a lot. But that's it. Now I gotta do the hose. Alright, so I don't know how good the camera view is. I'm under the car right now just to show you a couple things. Alright, this is a plug. This is where the hose is going to go. Alright, so obviously that caliper has no fluid in it. It's going to take a lot of fluid to fill this thing up. Here is the old caliper, and this is the piece that has to come off. This block is going to bolt onto this. With that being said, there's going to be fluid in here that's going to come out. There's going to be fluid in this hose that's going to come out. The old caliper, just the note, get your wrenches and sockets ready because there's going to be two different sizes. So the old caliper, the bolt in the old caliper has a 15mm head. So get you a 15mm socket or wrench ready. And then the new caliper bolt, that on the brand new one that I bought, is an 11mm. So have that socket or wrench ready. Because you're going to want to do this fast, I think. You don't want to let too much fluid leak out of your brake lines or you're going to spend all day bleeding them. One other thing to note is brake fluid is corrosive and it will eat the paint off of your car. So you might want to wear gloves to do this. If you get brake fluid all over the place, remember, try not to touch the vehicle. If you get some on the vehicle, get it off right away. Don't let it sit on there. It'll eat paint. Yeah, it destroys car paint. I got my oil catch pan, which is basically just a concrete mixing pan from Lowe's. It probably holds about 10 gallons. I'll never fill it up and overflow it. Trying to do this quick so not to lose a lot of fluid and not to make a big mess. But just I wanted to note that a couple things. Have your wrenches ready and don't get brake fluid all over your car because it's going to destroy your paint. Alright, here we go. I get this off of here. I got it stuck on there. And the brake cable, the hose will run aimed down. So here we go. Trying to make this quick. There goes my brake fluid coming out already. I got my bolt ready. I got my catch pan under here trying to catch whatever comes out. We don't want to take forever doing this. We don't want to brake fluid. So far so good. Most of the fluid is in the catch pan. So here's your banjo bolt with one crush washer on it. Put your other crush washer behind it. Get that block right back in there. Line it up. Don't cross thread it. Tighten that sucker up. Get your 11mm socket. Make sure you got a couple threads started. You don't want to cross thread it in there and hurt it and get that thing in there. You don't want to let too much air in that system. You'll spend all day trying to bleed them. There it is. Alright. Make sure that's real tight. Those copper washers will crush in there. You don't want leaks in this. This is not somewhere you want leaks. That's tight. I got that nice and tight. Take you a clean rag, wipe your tools off, get your brake fluid. Get that brake fluid off your stuff. You don't want to grab it later and then grab your car and get brake fluid everywhere. Come out 2 days from now and your paint's peeling off your car and you'll be like, oh, what the heck happened? Freaking brakes. Alright, so this is the bleeder. Right now I just cracked it. I got it open. It's a 10mm. I'm gonna go to the front of the car and show you where the brake reservoir is. And I do have some, this set actually came with brake fluid. It came with Detroit Axle. That's the brand I bought, Detroit Axle. Got it off Amazon. You want to make sure that this reservoir don't go dry. You don't want no air getting in that thing, because then all your brakes, you're going to bleed every single brake you got, and that's going to take hours. Alright, so the bleeder's wide open. As you can see, there ain't much coming out of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to close it, and I'm going to get somebody to pump the brakes and show you how this works. You close it. Usually people put a hose on this so that the fluid doesn't shoot out, but I'm just going to, I don't have a hose. I'm going to bleed them. The vehicle's running because it's got power brakes. You just have to have somebody pump them until they get hard, and then hold them. I did get a piece of straw. It's not the best, but if not, this is going to shoot straight up. Are they hard? Pump them until they get pretty hard and just hold it. Are they getting hard at all? It'll take a while. You'll have to pump them a lot. There's a whole bunch of air in here. Just hold them. I'll get some of the air out. So the first couple ones is just going to probably be all air. You just loosen this while they're holding. You got to hold the brake pedal. Don't ever let off the brake pedal until I tell you. So you see it's just air. A little bit of oil in there already. Alright, cool. Maybe gravity filled it up a little bit, but you can see how aerated that was. There's a lot of air in it. This hose is way too big, but it's just going to keep it from shooting up. I didn't have a piece of hose. I was looking for a straw, but we didn't have any. You still holding it? Alright, go ahead and pump it. Remember, don't let off the brakes while you're letting the air out, because you'll suck air back in. I thought I had a piece of hose. I remember having it. Doing brakes. Yeah, keep pumping until they get hard. Or somewhat hard. Get hard. A little bit. Just hold them. Hold it. It should go all the way to the floor. Alright, don't let off. It's like all fluid already. There's a little air coming out. I'm just trying to catch it because I don't have a something that's important is make sure when you're doing this, go back and check that reservoir and make sure it's not empty. Because if you run that reservoir out, you're going to suck air through the brake system. I know it's kind of messy the way I'm doing it, but I don't have a hose. I'm going to check. Alright, so that's it. I mean, there you have it. That's basically, in a nutshell, how to change brake caliper, bracket, and brakes with rotors, all in one video. I mean, it's pretty simple, straightforward. I do feel like my emergency brake cable, actually, I think it's this, is that when the wheel's not on, it's allowing the rotor to cock a little bit, because the wheel is what holds the rotor in place, and I think that's why it's just feeling snug. But with that being said, I am going to spray some oil in my emergency brake cable and work it a bunch of times, both sides. Let the oil creep down in there. Just keep working it. Maybe got some dirt in it. It is 12 years old. But other than that, yeah, that's the whole thing in a nutshell, man. When you're done, like I said, I got some brake fluid. I got a little brake fluid on the caliper. You just keep your little pan under there, and you can just take your brake cleaner and clean it all off, and spray get you a clean rag, and spray your rotor, wipe your rotor down, get whatever junk on your rotor off, and clean everything up, and and that's fine. That's what brake cleaner's for. And make sure your parts are cleaned up. The oil on them, the oil will wear off. It ain't going to make your car not stop. If you get fingers with grease on them, that won't keep you from stopping. It will probably smoke a little bit, and what have you. But other than that, I just did it to basically get the brake fluid off of all the parts. This stuff will all be rusted up in a month. I feel like it's bled out pretty good. It had no air coming through it, and just brake fluid. So I'm comfortable with it. I feel good. I'm going to go ahead and finish up and do all the other brakes. Really don't need to show you all of them. They're all the same. The front is rotor, the back is rotor, so it's pretty much the same thing. The only difference is the front won't have this, because this is the emergency brake assembly. So it's a lot simpler. You don't have to disconnect any of that. You just pull it off, put your brake pads on, and put your new brake shoes in, and that's it. So I hope that helps you if you need to replace a brake caliper on a Dodge Caravan. Oh, before I go, I do want to show you this. I almost forgot. So, this is brand new. I haven't even opened it. This is the tool for doing the Dodge brakes. It's brand new. Look, I never even opened it. Here. Let's move the camera out and take a look at this guy. So, here we go. Let's see what we got here. The camera's a little janky. Let's spin it around.